everybody. Welcome to BS of the Week, episode 36. We're in season 36, so that just confused me quite a bit. But yeah, we just finished up week 6, and I'm Patrick Driggett, the coach of the Berlin Fire, and I'm joined by my very good friend.
Hi there, I'm Kevin Lucy from the Glasgow Rushmores. So how are you doing this weekend, Patrick?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, I had obviously pleased with my result that we'll talk about. So that was nice. And had a good weekend and just been working a lot. How about you?
Yeah, no, pretty much the same. Pretty much the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, I've been watching,
So
some people know that I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, and so obviously
yeah,
watching the rookie mini camps, I'm just all about that football life, the
yeah,
American football life. So yeah,
all
how
right.
about yeah, anything exciting going on in your world?
No, I mean we're watching soccer, as you would call it, or
Oh
football as
yeah,
we call
the
it, which
footy.
is reaching the end of the season. So we've got relegation and promotions going on. So
Oh,
it's all
I didn't know you were a soccer fan.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Have been
nice.
for many years.
That's
Anyway,
great.
shall we get on with the show, sir?
Yeah, I don't know. We should just talk some
Yeah,
more. All right,
yeah,
so PFC. Yeah, no, everybody's gonna be very bored. PFC week 6 results. So we had first game was Bombers at Surfers. Uh, not much to say. Surfers dominated at home with a 48-7 victory. Next game got Packers at Titans. I'll talk about that one a little later. Uh, Next game after that, right? Rapiers at Chargers. Both teams were able to get points on the board in the first, but then the second quarter, the Rapiers just kind of took off. They started accelerating their scoring. They put up 14 points in the second and 21 points in the third quarter alone. Ultimately, QB Pogue had all the answers. He completed 70.7% of his passes for 377 yards, 4 touchdowns. Rapiers went on the road 48-21. Great victory. Good job, Phil.
yeah.
Hey, but Chris Weeks really put up a fight there. So 21 points against the Rapiers. That's nice in a division game. So next we have Eagles at the Warriors. It's honestly a bit of a shocker here that the score was so lopsided. The Warriors just weren't able to get points on the board until the second half, and they had 3 turnovers, so they just couldn't get momentum. And the Eagles won 34-6. That's not to say Andy obviously is a great coach and knows what he's doing, but I was a little. Coach Ambrose generally, I'm sure he has to feel a bit disappointed on the Warriors' performance in this game. So, next, we had Devils at the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs just continue to look strong and look like they could potentially even be a contender for the division championship next year. Maybe not this season. I think it's still too tough of a division, but they are looking great. This week, though, they showed that by putting up 30 points in the first half. Wow. They relied heavily on their pass attack. You're going to love this number. So QB Ethel, threw for 355 yards, nothing to sneeze at, right? Or no,
Yeah.
sorry, I think it was like 370 something yards. Their wide receiver Malone put up 355 yards by himself.
Wow.
25 yards a carry, 355 yards, like insane numbers. Bulldogs coast to a 37-13 win. That'll be a combo to watch, I think,
Wow.
soon. So people are gonna have to do something about that. Rivets at Maroons. Rivets won. Probably not the most shocking thing, but it was interesting enough. Coach Kramer led the Maroons to kind of a defensive battle. As far as Rivets games go, they got 3 turnovers and they held the Maroons to 20, or the Rivets to 28 points. Unfortunately, they didn't have the offense to match that, so they didn't get the storybook ending. They were only able to put 7 against that 28. But it should be mentioned that, and as far as modern Rivets games go, this was a close one, and the Rivets looked good. So that's, hopefully the Maroons can take that away. Coach Graber, that was great effort against the Rivets for sure. Huskies at Stormers. The Huskies are still getting their legs under them. Coach Roswell led the Stormers to a 27-3 win at home. But I would like to say one kind of positive thing from that game is Coach Kane kind of held the Stormers to 0 points in the first quarter. And if you can do that and figure out what you're doing right there, keep repeating that, and there's some success to build from. So good job from Coach Kane, maybe learning some things there. Coach Roswell obviously knows what he's doing. Probably not a shocker that the Stormers won, but I think the Huskies have some notes to build on, which is awesome. How's the LFC looking, Kev?
Right. In the LFC, we had the Sun Devils against the Statesmen. And here we basically had a 0-5 team playing a 5-0 team. So have a wild guess as to what way the result went, and you would be correct. The 5-0 team are now 6-0. Sam's having a bit of a torrid time at the Sun Devils at the moment, and Lee just keeps marching on. The good thing that I think Lee will take from this game um, is he might just have found himself a passing game because his the most valuable player was Arahathan, his quarterback, and that if he can add that passing game to an already very very strong rushing game, he'll definitely be another team to watch, as it were. Lee's always strong anyway. Next game on my list is the Rushmores against the 66ers. And here, basically, Craig's defense totally and utterly dominated this game. He has the second best run defense, and I can see why now, because I just could not get my running game. And as you know, I rely on my running game. He just shut it down altogether. I was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And in fact, in the whole game, I only managed 9 first downs. So much was the dominance there. Could just never get the attack going. And of course, to counterbalance that, Craig had 20 first downs. So fairly straightforward win for him. I was a little bit upset and, should we say, disappointed with that. But it was the Rushmore 6 and the 66ers 23. Very good game plan, Craig. Well done, mate. Congratulations on that one. Next game, Sharks against the Irish. Don't know how to put this, but the Irish can probably consider themselves slightly unlucky, slightly unfortunate, whichever way you want to put it, because in this game they had more possession, they had more yardage, they gave away fewer penalties, and yet they lost. And they simply could not, for whatever reason, convert all that yardage into touchdowns and into points. Nevertheless, with the scores at 16 all, and you're going into the fourth quarter, the game was still there for anyone to win. And Sharks went and took 2 field goals to get the Sharks over the line. Basically, the Sharks, I feel this year at 4-2 are stumbling along a little bit, but they're still getting the results when they need to get them. They're still pulling out the results, even when they're slightly under the cosh. And that's always a good sign of a good team. And for some unknown reason, the Sharks swim on, but they raise Irish, prop up the division and the LFC West with a 1-5 record, which is a bit surprising considering the games that they've played. Next one on my list, the Knights against the Weasels. This one was 10-6 at half time in what was a fairly even game at that stage. But I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall at half time for the halftime team talk that Ben gave his team, because it must have been one to remember, because they came out in the third quarter stuck on 19 unanswered points, and that was basically it, game over. To stay in front of the Rhinos in the LFC South. So again, the Weasels are just marching on. Ben's having a cracking first season and still leads the Rhinos in the division.
Good job, Coach Harris. Great to have you here.
Yeah, which brings us nicely onto the Rhinos game. They played the Shadows. To be quite honest, this was a fairly straightforward win by Richard. Nothing really much here to say. It was a Shadows 3, Rhinos 36. Pretty one-sided affair. Next one on my list, Buccaneers 9, the Massive 27. Could have been a shock for some people. And Martin's Massive really put on a real second half show to prove that there's life in the Massive yet. 24 points they added in the second half to add to their first half 3 points. And that was enough to see them through this game. To quite honestly, what was in the end quite a comfortable win. Not a massive amount of yardage from either side, but again, quite a comfortable win for the Massive. So congratulations there. Next one we have is the Hornets against the Patriots. The Patriots are a bit of a strange team in as much as you cannot shut down their passing game. Their passing game is a nightmare to shut down. It's a nightmare to defend against. And even in defeat, the Oakwell drift partnership, Oakwell quarterback, drifter at wide receiver combination was still running the Hornets ragged, as it were. They got a total of 366 yards in the air against the Hornets' #1 defense. And however, as we all know, the Hornets have a pretty awesome offense as well. Yeah. And in fact, so Impney decided that anything you can do, I can do better. So he threw for 407 yards. And then Escobar, who's a new Tripson, received for 301 yards.
Wow. So
it was just an awesome display once again by Collins Hornets. So look out the LFC, because that is some stats he's putting together there, some team he's putting together. Nice. Yeah. And the last game on my list is your game, sir. The Phoenix 19 against the Fire 27. An unbelievable result for you, sir. You must be very, very happy.
Basically, yeah, I mean, none of the stats make it look like I should have won that game, to be fair.
Yeah, well, you keep underplaying. We're not going to allow you to do that this week. The Fire took an early lead, as you know, 10-0 lead. And then the Phoenix ran the clock, controlled the clock pretty well. And they were leading 16-10 going into the fourth quarter. So at that stage, have to be honest, when I was watching through the game, I thought, yep, this is going to go the way I sort of thought it might do, with the Phoenix sort of grinding out a win. And then with a field goal and touchdown, the scores were 19-20 in your favor with 50 seconds left. Again, Phoenix had possession of the ball. And they had control of the clock. They had 50 seconds to march down the other end and to score. Any score would have won, a field goal, touchdown, or whatever. But as we all know, they threw an interception pass, which Stu returned gratefully for a touchdown. And that basically put an end to the game at Phoenix 19, the Fire 27. It's an awesome game, all told. And what that game really does is it puts a lot of pressure on Lee. And it makes you, believe it or not, sir, the only team in the LFC with only second place team in the LFC with a 5-1 record, puts you firmly in fifth place for the wild cards. And really, in my opinion, Patrick, it's only you that can actually throw it away, because I think you're pretty much guaranteed a wild card place. Because the next ranked team that can throw you off a wild card place are 3-3. So they're two games
ahead. Yeah, that's interesting.
So that will take a lot of throwing away with only 4 games left, especially when one of them's against me. So
I mean, Ian made us paid for it. I don't know if you saw. I lost my middle linebacker to a D injury. I've got a. I mean, I came out of that thing hurt.
Here we go. More excuses, Patrick. More excuses.
Look, as long as I'm a pessimist, I can only exceed expectations later, right?
Yeah. So. It was an excellent win, and does put you very, very much in the playoff position, mate.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So that was basically what happened in the LFC. But what was your game of the week this week?
All right, game of the week. So this is the game that I skipped earlier. Game of the week is Packers at Titans. So basically it was a high scoring affair, 93 combined points. So that's pretty awesome. Packers came out hot, scored 14 unanswered points in the first, but James Allen, great coach. The Titans weren't going to just roll over and give up. Right at the beginning of the second, they intercepted the ball on a sideline pass. 2 plays later, they put it in for 7, keeping it 14-7 and a 1-score game. They swapped a couple of more touchdowns throughout the second, but unfortunately for the Titans, every time the Packers made a stop, they'd go score again. And so while the Titans just couldn't convert as many possessions, basically going at halftime, the Packers had slowly kind of, well, I wouldn't say slowly, it was a shootout. They're up 31-14. The Titans did try to bring it close again. They even got within 10 on an 80-yard medium pass that went to the house. And then again at the beginning of the fourth, they brought it within 10 again on a nice drive, capped off by a power pitch from Browner on a fourth down. They went for a fourth down and got the TD. But unfortunately, though, it's just that's the last time they kind of struck any pay dirt. And the Packers offense was just relentless with the final score of 58-35. Was a fun shootout game. I recommend anyone go watch it. It was there was definitely a lot of scoring going on if you're into that kind of thing. So great game for both coaches. But the Packers are looking strong. I think they've got what it takes. We'll see. Obviously anything goes, and the Rivets are looking strong, but the Packers are looking good. So yeah. That's our game of the week.
In fact, following
go ahead.
Well, following on from that, Tom with the Packers is one of the three people that I consider very carefully for coach of the week this week. It was an awesome performance. Any game against the Titans like that is good. The other coach that I considered was actually the one that beat me, Craig. An excellent game plan, solid defense, and just basically an awesome second season again. He's not out of the playoffs yet. But my coach of the week, Patrick, actually goes to you, sir.
Oh, thank you. It's my first coach of the week, I think.
I think it is your first coach of the week. That was one heck of a performance against a very, very strong team. And although you've been playing your side down and you're crying into your beard about your injuries, it was a cracking game plan, sir, and it was a brilliant game. So you are, in fact, our coach of the week this week.
Thank you. I don't know. I'm like blushing. Thank you. Very exciting. Awesome. No, that's great. I'm going to ride that high all week.
You're going to need to, because it's the last one you're getting.
Thanks. How's the week 7 games looking? What should we watch out for?
Right. Well, obviously we've got to watch out for all the teams that are top of the divisions, particularly, obviously, the Statesmen, because you're breathing down their neck. The games that I'm interested in most this week are the Statesmen against the Phoenix. That is going to be a tough shout for Lee. He's really got to, he can't afford to slip up because you're breathing down his neck. And I don't mean any disrespect, but you have a much easier game this week. I don't know. So has Andy been doing the power rankings? Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see my strength of schedule is I'm like literally 32. Like
you have the easiest schedule by the looks of it. So I mean, Lee's got to win. He can't afford to slip up. He's really got to do what you did against the Phoenix and come out with the points so that he can keep himself 1 point ahead of you. The other one to watch for is the Rhinos at the Knights. Again, the Rhinos are they're putting pressure on Ben's Weasels. They're only one win behind in that divisional standing, and also they're in 6th spot at the moment for the playoffs. So they are the team that are 4-2, I think. So basically, they need to keep winning as well to at least guarantee themselves a playoff position. And the big game in the PFC this week is the Generals at the Rapiers. That is going to be one heck of a battle. And again, I don't know if it's too early to say Alex against Phil. Is this for the PFC East title? I don't know. It could be too early.
Well, it was a bit of a shocker, right? Wasn't week 1 where kind of the Rapiers the Generals shocked the Rapiers pretty badly. And this is the rematch. It's an interesting match.
It's a sort of, it's one of those ones where if you go 2 games ahead at this stage in the season, then you really should be clinching the PFC East title. But if it goes all square, oh my gosh, it gets really interesting as the running continues.
Exciting.
And you've also got a situation where in the PFC, unlike the LFC, you've actually got 4 teams who are all perched on 4 and 2
Wow.
in second place. So there's a lot of competition there for those
Yeah,
playoff
it
berths.
might take 8 and 2 to make it to the wild card, is what it's
Yeah,
looking
I
like.
mean it's going to
Yeah.
be a tough one because the divisions look well, with the exception of the PFC East, the others look reasonably sort of settled, as in we can pretty much predict who's going to win those leagues. But the playoff position is going to be very, very interesting. So those would be my games to watch this week, and I'm sure there'll be other games that come and sneak up on us and surprise us and turn up to be fantastic games. But those are the ones that are going to make a big difference, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for those. And yeah, it's a great week, and excited to see what's happening as the playoffs start to take shape. It's always a fun time, as things start to solidify and you see kind of what's happening and these fun storylines come out. So excited for that, and appreciate those. Going to watch those really carefully on Friday when they come out, and hope you have a great week. Hope everybody else has a great week. Get those green check marks so everything runs smooth, and see you next week.
Yep. Goodbye, everyone. Bye.